on, everybody. Give everybody a few minutes to congregate. Who's the first one in the room? Somebody, the first viewer across all platforms. Who was that? Give everybody a few minutes to join in. I think I'm going to keep calling this You Up. You Up? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking to the audience, babe. My wife's like, huh? Tracy Bino, hello. Devontae Goins, hello. Hey, nephew. My nephew's in the room. Love it. Come on in the room. I ain't got no sense. Take a second as you come in. I'm just taking a second to share my own stuff. If I can't share my own stuff, I can ask anybody else to. So as everybody comes in, take a second and share, like, and subscribe. We'll get started. Cross-pollinate, go to other platforms. We have 300 people on Facebook alone. So how many we got total? We got 724 people already. Dope. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me, inviting you to my home. Leave comments. I'll put your comments on the screen. And I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I know you guys a lot of people tell me that you appreciate me doing this, but I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Most of the time it's catharsis for me. Earlier today was a pretty rough day. We'll talk about it in terms of what's going on with me and my family. It's the same thing that's happening across the country, so it's nothing special. COVID-19 and trying to protect your family from all the threat that it is. So I'll talk about that. It was a pretty rough day, but we're lucky, we're blessed. So anyway, let me get some comments on Michael Harrison. That's what I love. I love it. Michael said over on YouTube, he said, "Can I borrow $750? I mean, I think Donald Trump could spare $750. Miss High, because I read that as Missy, but she says, up at work, passing the time. Glad I could be passing the time with you, make the time go by a little faster. How's my kid's face? It was fine. He slept on it. Last night, they're talking about my son made a guest appearance last night on the show, on the stream, and his face was like really red because he had slept on it, but he's fine. Tamika Dean says she just finished listening to the podcast. Need another fix. Late night snack. Appreciate it. Hey, go to iTunes and download the podcast. Podcast is a totally different experience. We all have different sides of our personality. When I'm at home and in this, when you see me with the mug, when you see me with the coffee mug, you know I'm in chill mode. Podcast, I'm behind my expensive microphone, and it's far more intense and revolutionary. So this time of night, I'm a Disney dad. In the daytime, I'm more like a revolutionary. So I guess you can call me the Disney dad revolutionary. All right, let's get to it. Wow, 900 people. Dope. From across all the platforms. Let's talk about it. No, it is the Mark O'Brien. It literally is coffee in here. I don't drink like I like talking about. I can drink. I am a drinker's drinker, but that was before COVID. And the package store is what you call it in the hood. The package store, the owner doesn't wear a mask. And I went in there one time and he was on the phone talking and he ain't having no mask. Man, I got out of there so quick. So I just haven't been back. So I probably am a lightweight. I probably can drink a couple sips of wine and just be all over the place. But so I used to be a drinker's drinker, but now I'm not. So, but it is literally coffee. Let's talk. What was the first thing on my list? I forgot what the show was on. How Trump deterred. Okay, so tomorrow's podcast, I'm going to take a deep dive into how Donald Trump in the 2016 election targeted black voters. And it's a report from Channel 4 News. Channel 4 is basically what we have over here, how Channel 7 News is in every city. Channel 4 in England, in London, or in the entirety of the UK is synonymous with Channel 7 here. They're not the same, but they're similar. And they did some extensive reporting on how Donald Trump targeted black voters for something called deterrence. And deterrence is a term that we take from international relations theory. At least that's where I know it from. And think about it in terms of you can't win, but you don't want to lose them. And so what you do is you alienate them. In international relations, it's like the Cold War. The U.S. versus the USSR at the time. We couldn't beat them, but we certainly weren't going to lose to them. And so we had mutually assured destruction, and we had nuclear deterrence theory. So basically it's just saying, like, how do we operate to make sure that even if we don't win, we don't lose? That's a real kind of paper napkin, backside of the paper napkin kind of way of understanding what deterrence means in its original, and as far as I know, the original context. This is what Donald Trump did with black voters in 2016. It's a clip. It's on YouTube. It's 20 minutes long. I would recommend everybody watch it. And I'm going to break it down. I'm going to try to condense that 22 minutes into 7 minutes for tomorrow's episode. But this is what he did. He had extensive data on every single, like hundreds of, I think like some, I don't want to put the number out there. I forgot if it was like 20 million or 200 million. Either way it goes, it was a lot. Millions upon millions of voters. And this is the data aspect of it isn't new. It's the application of the data. So every campaign has extensive data on you. They know who you voted for the last time. They know, where you live, your address, your phone number, your date of birth. They even know, based on information gleaned from Facebook, your personality type. And they know if you are like a definitive voter. Are you definitely going to vote no matter what? Are you a person who is definitely not going to vote? Or are you somebody in the middle who can either be appealed to for Republicans to get out the vote? Or on the other side, on the Clinton side, 2016 side, if you're in the middle, you're not a definitive voter, and you're not I'm absolutely not a voter, right? But you're in the middle. And that middle category is where the campaign would try to get out the vote normally. What Donald Trump did specifically was to target African Americans in that middle section, and he targeted them for deterrence. And deterrence means we just want to, in his case, want to make sure that they don't go out and vote. We won't win them, but we don't want Hillary Clinton to win them. And so he strategically targeted, and this is how he did it. He took all this data and he saw, he knew exactly how to reach them. He didn't have to run campaign ads on radio or television. He ran ads on Facebook, really inexpensive ads. And by doing that, he was able to target, micro target. So if he knew in Wisconsin, in like Ward 1100, whatever, I'm going off the top of my head because I watched it and read it tonight. And I'll have all the data and the notes and everything specifically tomorrow. So I don't know what the wards are labeled. When I think of wards, I think like the 4th ward in Houston. You know what I mean? So I don't know what the wards are in Wisconsin, so forgive me. But he could target down to a specific neighborhood. And he would see that there were, let's say, 1,100 voters, African-American voters in that neighborhood. And he would target that neighborhood specifically with campaign ads that were meant to discourage the vote in that neighborhood. And Channel 4 is reporting showing that it had a significant impact on deterring voters, on making sure voters got disillusioned and didn't care, or thought that Donald Trump was the same, or, it's all a wash. Hillary is the same as Donald Trump. Donald Trump's the same as Hillary, or Hillary's worse. And they just did not show up. And he had a measurable impact on the turnout in 2016, specifically because of his deterrence campaign. He targeted I remember this number. He targeted 3.5 million African Americans, and he targeted them with information and campaigns that would discourage the turnout. And he got significant results. And he did it in swing states, specifically in swing states. Now, again, the data itself is nothing new. With Cambridge Analytica, that's a firm that worked hand in hand and gleaned data, took data from Facebook, And what they did, that they created voter profiles for tens of millions of people. And so they not only knew who you were, what your name was, your birthday, who you voted for in the last election, but they knew your personality type. They knew your personality type. And they knew exactly what type of they would clean the data, organize the data, put you in different groups using algorithms. And they knew that they could tune a specific message to your personality type to discourage you from voting. It's the application of it that is so damning. It is not the data itself. There is a problem with them having this kind of data on us, but we give it away. All of us. Watching on Facebook right now, we give that data away. So all of them have data on us like this. From Joe Biden to Hillary Clinton to Barack Obama to Donald Trump. They all have this data, but have we seen in such an organized, specific fashion someone using that data to discourage voter turnout? Now, here's the thing. It's Machiavellian. I actually think it was brilliant, and that's how he won. So from just a raw political analysis perspective, like just the horse race, it was brilliant. You get your bang for your buck. You know, you may not be able to convince people to vote for you, but you can discourage them from voting. Here's the thing that we have to be cognizant of, and this is why I'm talking about it more than just the fact that he did it, more than the fact that they have this data, but because there are certain messages. There are certain messages that people can use that are so easy. And the message that was so easy is still one that we're fighting today. And it's the message that none of this matters. That voting has no impact whatsoever. And that message resonates with so many people that it made Donald Trump's job easier. Now, why people feel that way and why is it so easy? That's a question that we need to unpack and dig in. I'll probably do that on tomorrow's episode. But just tonight, for us to discuss the fact that it's so easy for you to make voters disillusioned because of how broken our system is. Because it feels as though nothing changes for the better when you even take the time to vote. So it's really easy to disenfranchise, to get people to what I call self-disenfranchise. I think that was something I was calling it back in 2016. Super easy to get folks to self-disenfranchise. Because we have so many politicians who just don't do nothing for us. But when it's that easy and Donald Trump targets that precisely, and he could target you on your street, in your specific district, and decrease the turnout by 15, 20, 30%, right? And he could take power. The ramifications of it are so far reaching, because now look at the country. Donald Trump has appointed 183 judges to the bench. He's getting ready to get his third Supreme Court pick in his first term. If he gets a second term, he'll probably have 2 more. And they are creating a system that, if you thought America was bad before, which it was, it's about to get a whole lot worse. And they do that, he accomplished that by spending a couple $1 million on Facebook, targeting you specifically, targeting black people disproportionately, trying to discourage your vote. A lot of people took this and they try to apply it and say that it was Russia. Matter of fact, the guy who shared this article on Twitter was, I think his name is Eric Garland, and he's like a big, a moron anyway. But when he shared it in context of Russia and said that this was an act of war against Russia. Nah, bruh. This is basic micro-targeting on social media, but with nefarious means. Ends, goals. Donald Trump only had to spend $10 million or less than that. He only had to spend a couple $1 million to disenfranchise. He didn't have to go to Russia to get this. The thing about this is everybody is so far behind the 8 ball on this. We're just getting this information 4 years later. So journalists, investigative journalists, we're all behind the 8 ball on this. The Democratic Party was, so what are they concocting for this next election? All right, let's pause for the calls. We just crossed over 1,000. I want to get your comments in here because that's what I love doing at night. Rita said Trump is stacking the deck against real Americans. Let's read some more comments. That's from Facebook. We got a super chat. They said that the Democrats blamed the voters. Let's see. Sarah on Facebook said that we're going to have to rise up. Eric on Twitch, they say Eric Garland was a Scott Adams Dilbert guy of the left. That's a real meta comment. I don't even have time to really unpack why that's so funny, but trust me, that's funny. I just thank you for reminding me. Terry, imagine if he just paid taxes. It just reminded me of put this in context of the fact this man doesn't pay any taxes, guys. Like, he pays $750 in taxes. He has the ability to destroy this country, destroy this entire country, and he has no commitment whatsoever to this country. I'll put these back on when I play some media. He has no commitment to this country whatsoever. I went over in great detail. I have 2 videos and an episode today. So if you need more information on how he doesn't pay taxes and how much he's in debt, go watch the YouTube or the Facebook video and the podcast from today. Let's read some more comments. So here's from YouTube, from Born Beauty Star. And she says, are we surprised they're doing what they do? No. I'm disappointed that we're 4 years behind. This is what happened in 2016. This report just came out today. And bro, like, what's bad about it? Here's the other thing that's bad about it. This micro-targeting, full transparency, I haven't done it in the last 5 years. I've been able to grow my presence online without doing any advertising. I think I maybe have spent $30 total in advertising over the last 5 years. So all of this is like 99.999% organic. But before I started doing politics, I was experimenting on Facebook, trying to grow different pages and whatnot. And I dropped $500 over a year period. But I got really good at the micro-targeting. And the reason I bring that up is because the micro-targeting aspect of this has been readily accessible for everyone to use for years. The problem is that we did not, no one had the foresight to see that people would do the micro-targeting to discourage you from voting. Instead of using the micro-targeting to attract people, using micro-targeting on Facebook to discourage people. Right? When I advertised years ago, it was to bring people to me, to grow my little Facebook presence on these little, whatever no-name pages that I had years ago. I never really thought about using it for discouraging people from going to my competition. So, and maybe, never mind, forget that. All right, let me read some more comments. This is random. And I totally did not notice the avatar, so let me take that down. But whatever, it's up. We're adults. Where's my African American? The comment is funny. You got me with the middle finger. If that's a middle finger, that's what that is. Let's see what else is coming on. I like this comment, right? This is important, Nash. Everyone is thinking he's coming for minorities. Better wake up. He's coming for anything and everyone. This is what's important. And I'm going to move on to the next topic. And obviously, I'll get more of your comments on the screen. And that was a middle finger. Still, I'm holding to it. That was a middle finger. I'm laughing about it, but it's dead ass serious. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what your orientation is. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your gender identification is. I don't care what I don't care if you are a white Christian man, right? When I say white Christian man, I need everybody to think back to the video of Bill O'Reilly and John McCain. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just check some other videos. It's all there. I don't care if you're a white Christian man. If you are a white Christian man, but you don't conform directly with what Donald Trump is pushing and what a specific subset of white Christian men are pushing in this country, they are coming after you. They're coming after everybody who does not. This is the important thing. And I've said this. They will never be satisfied. They're not going to be satisfied because they won. They don't want to just win. They want to win so that they can change the rules to serve them and subjugate everyone else. They being conservatives, right? There's a whole, the urgency that I have, and the reason I'm doing these streams probably every day except for like Saturday, Friday and Saturday, is because the stakes are so much higher now. They're not just looking for political power to say, hey, we've got power. They're looking to implement their theocratic fascism. They're looking to change the world, to change America into Handmaid's Tale, right? Because that's what they believe. They fervently believe that women have a place, that abortions should be punishable by death, that being LGBTQ is punishable by death. That if you are a Christian who doesn't preach the same kind of Christianity that they believe in, that you're a heretic, punishable by death. They believe these things. So it's not going to be enough for them to just get a Supreme Court seat. It's how they're using that Supreme Court. And the reason I'm putting it like that is because I think people think it's over when they have power and they just want power for the sake of having power. No. They don't want to just have the Supreme Court. They want to use the Supreme Court to reverse the entirety of the 20th century. So it's the application of power that becomes so dangerous. And as Nash was saying, that application hits everybody that does not fit into their very narrowly defined interpretation of what a real American is. And so while I'm talking and kind of like we're chilling and we're just kind of vibing at night, this is deadly serious. All of this is very deadly serious. We've got 1,200 folk kicking it with us. Let's see what else you guys are talking about, and then I'll move on to the next topic. Wow, this is a long comment on Facebook. Joy, I have to read that one later. That's like 8 paragraphs, Joy. I just want to see how it fits on the screen. I'm not even going to leave it on the screen. Let's see how this fits on the screen, everybody. This is going to be wild. Hold on. Look at this. All right, let's take that down. That's too much. That's a hell of a comment, Joy. Okay. I'm just reading comments here, see what I can put on the screen. Born Beauty Star said we should be worried. I agree. Let's see what else. There we go. My says there's no talking peace with fascists. Big facts. Tremendously accurate. You can't be reasonable with unreasonable people. You can't be civil with uncivil people. You cannot negotiate with terrorists. And the conservative movement in this country, they're nothing more than domestic terrorists, without question. So we can't play games with these people. We've seen, listen, to all of my liberal friends, and I make the distinction of liberal for several reasons. But one thing that my friends to the left of me understand is that you can't play around with these fascists. You can't make it a badge of nobility to fight on behalf of a Nazi's rights. You can't. For the longest, we thought it was the most noble thing in the world to be like, I don't agree with you, but I'll fight to the death for you to say whatever it is that you want to say. That was like the badge of nobility. And bro, do you see what they did with that? They used your willingness to fight on behalf of their rights to be Nazis to bring about theocratic fascism in this country. And I'm sorry, we may not be there completely, and we're not there yet, but we're on the road there, especially with this new Supreme Court pick with Amy Coney Barrett. Like the stuff that they are going to use, and I told you, Republicans do identity politics better than anybody else. They've picked a woman who is going to go in and undo all of the progress women have gotten in this country. They'll get a black person, put them on the Supreme Court, and use that person to undo all of the progress that was accomplished for black people in this country. Because you're always going to have collaborators of color. You're always going to have women who would do the bidding of white Christian men. Women who believe that their place is not in the workplace, but at home. You're always going to have people who work against the interests of their identity, but they're willing to put their identity to work to accomplish that nefarious end. So anyway, this is from Periscope, from Twitter. First they came for the socialists. That's right, folks. Listen, let me tell you something. Right now, in the streets, they're bashing the heads of my friends who are socialists, who are communists, people who are to the far left of me. Those are the people who are out in the streets putting their body on the line in these protests. And we'll talk about Breonna Taylor in a minute. The Breonna Taylor protests, the George Floyd protests, the Ahmaud Arbery protests. Like the people who put themselves on the line and are oftentimes much further to the left of the average American. And a lot of times we try to pretend as if we're more civilized than those rabble rousers in the streets. But the fact of the matter is as the police state comes to crack down on them, the next thing that they're going to crack down on is you. Because like I've been saying for the last couple of days, that fascism is not satisfied with just getting power. It needs to exercise that power. And what they always do, what they constantly need is an enemy. So once they've gotten rid of all of the socialists and all the communists, once they've gotten rid of everyone to the left of you and me, they're coming after us because they need more enemies. So of course, the end goal is a totalitarian society. The end goal is a society where nobody goes outside the margin of error of what's acceptable to their leader. It's inevitably going that way. Because once they get rid of all the Muslims, who are they going to come after next? Hell, they were just attacking the Unitarian Church on Fox News. The Unitarian Church is a part of it's a Christian congregation. But because they teach a variation on Christianity that evangelicals don't like, they're coming after Unitarians. So once they're done with the Muslims, who do you think they're going after? Once they're done with the socialists, they're coming after you, liberals. Let's keep going. Appreciate you, Raymond. I got a super chat here. Thank you for the super chats over on YouTube. It really helps out. Everything helps. I need to interview Robert P. Jones, author of White Too Long, How White Supremacy is Rooted in the Southern Church. Absolutely. So Kim, if you do me a favor, hit me on Twitter. I'll try to remember that name and that book and see if we can get an interview set up. Born a Beauty Star says it's been happening forever. Like they success. Okay, I want to move topics. I don't want to belabor the point too long. I'm gonna turn my volume down just a little, folks. It looks like it's peaking out a little bit. We have 1,286 people. While I prepare to talk about the next topic, I want you to take what you're doing, stop what you're doing for a second, do me a favor, hit the like button. 1,286 people across all the platforms. Everybody hit the like button. Do they have a like button on Twitch? I'm not sure. Hit the like button, hit the share button, share the video, and wherever you are, follow me or subscribe. I like what Siobhan said on Facebook. We're getting our power back, and that's why they're mad. I like what Bose Einstein said on YouTube. Fascism is the root of destruction. Theocracy combined with it is anti-life as well. Example is Israel and Iran and Nazi Germany. Theocratic fascism is the perfect marriage for that is the end goal. That is the Republican Party. You have people who are dominionists who believe that Christianity is meant to dominate society, that are running the Republican Party. On the flip side, you have oligarchs, you have billionaires who all they care about is their quarterly profit margin. And those billionaires are totally okay with a fascist society, of a theocratic society, right? They're totally okay with that because they can still get their quarterly profit margins. And so you have a merger and a marriage between plutocrats and theocrats. And it becomes terrifyingly dangerous because they have the funding, the resources necessary to wage a 40-year war on our rights. Not even on our rights, I'm sorry. It's a 40-year war to get in position. What we're seeing is a culmination of 40 years of effort by Republican media, by their think tanks, the Heritage Foundation, with all the money they pour into media, Fox News, the Republican Party, the Tea Party, and all the white militias. We're coming to the culmination of all of their efforts. And those efforts are not meant simply to get power. It's meant to get power so that it could take America in a right-wing direction. Far right, it's hard to say, right-wing direction. The point is that they are just getting started. It took them 40 years to get in position to have this much power throughout the federal judiciary. And who do you appeal to? This is what I said in today's episode. Like, who do you appeal to when they control all of the courts? So if your rights are then violated, who can you appeal to when the courts are now saying that you don't have those rights anymore? You can yell that it's unconstitutional all you want, but if they have the courts to say it's constitutional, and then they have the police force and the police state and the military to execute their decisions, who do we appeal to? So it's not a foregone conclusion that we won't ever get to a point in America where your constitutional rights are completely ignored because you don't conform to their theocratic beliefs. It sounds like hyperbole, but when who's going to stop? If you manage to have enough resources to sue on behalf of your civil rights and your constitutional rights, and you get all the way to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court is full of nothing but, and you won't even get there because all the federal judiciary is filled with religious zealots now. But you get to the Supreme Court and they say that this was totally constitutional for them to infringe on your First Amendment rights because of X, Y, and Z. Who do you appeal to? That's the game that they have been preparing to play on us for 40 years. And I'm very disappointed and disillusioned and angry and pissed that the Democrats did not spot this a long time ago. I'm 40 years old, right? They've been working on this since before Ronald Reagan. So let's say 50 years. This has been a 50-year strategy. And we didn't see it coming. What's the next on the list? I forgot what we were talking about. They don't care about us, bro. Let me answer this super chat. Thank you for this. Oh, no, come back up. Good question. Chat, I question what's next then. I mean, if we lose our rights, don't we have an obligation to revolt? If so, how? What I talked about on today's podcast, yes, it's a shameless plug. Go download my podcast. And while you're there, give me a rating. Give me whatever, how many stars you think I deserve. I think I deserve 5 stars, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Babe, you back there? Jada. Oh, okay, I want to make sure she wasn't listening to me because she'll talk. My wife will clown me good. Go download today's podcast And in today's podcast, I talked about the fact that we need time. Time's not on our side, but we need time because we're going to have to implement a revolution along the same lines that conservatives did. Conservatives took 50 years to get in this position that they're in right now, to where they control the complete judiciary. They control it. It is theirs. They have political power in terms of the House. They have the Senate, most certainly. And of course, they have the White House. They have state legislatures. They have state Senate houses. They have power all across this country. And listen, like I don't, whatever your criticisms are of the Democratic Party, I have more. But we can't look at this and say the Democratic Party failed, so we all throw in the towel. No, this is our lives. These are our lives. These are like, if they fail us, then we have to step up. And so what do? They can put down any rebellion. Can I just start here? I just want to start here. Like, I'm a Disney dad revolutionary. I normally say 364 days a year, I'm a Disney dad. You catch me on the wrong day and I'll be ready to burn this whole thing to a ground. I was wrong. It's like 29 days out of the month, I'm a Disney dad. That one day out of the month, I'm like ready to go. Let's go. Let's do this. And I'm more serious about it than most people because I am a dad. So it's like this. I'm going to answer your question very directly, but I want to just give you this duality that I'm struggling with, right? On the one side, I want to do everything I possibly can to help preserve everything that we have because I want my children to have a safer, better future. The other side of that dichotomy is the fact that it might take a little bit of revolution to do that. I don't want it to, but that's there. And when you see what's going on around us, it pushes you in that direction. That said, I sat down and I really gamed this out. There's no revolution that these monsters aren't ready and willing to crush by force in the most brutal fashion imaginable. They will, in my opinion, you can believe what you want, but they will obliterate a violent revolution. They will be more than happy to crush us into pulp and to put our bodies on display as traitors, right? And I say it with that kind of emphasis because we can't wait on the hope of some type of revolt to change this. They didn't wait on it. They didn't try to, they tried it once. They did try it and they lost. They tried to revolt against the Union and they lost. I guess they learned their lesson because they said, well, we can't do it by force. We're going to do it through the system. And what they did was work for decades through the system. Conservatives worked for decades through the system, amassing power, both politically, both in terms of media, financially, all of the different channels of power. They amass power and then they are now executing their agenda. So what did I say today in today's episode is that we have to do the same thing, but we have to do it a lot quicker. I don't think we need to expend our energy trying to imagine a revolution in the Che Guevara sense, right? Because they're ready and happy to crush that. They've got tanks. They've got robot assassin dogs now from like Black Mirror. They've got every toy imaginable. We have to amass political power. We got to organize. We got to amass media power, which is one of the reasons I'm doing this. Like, we started off with 500 people, like was our first night. Now we have 1,300 people. Before the end of October, I'm hoping to have 5,000 people on a regular basis. And this is just me and my channel. We have to amass media power, social media power. We have to empower the people who are putting themselves out there to be on the front street, right? We need to share their stuff. We need to subscribe. We need to support them, because if they're doing that media right, then they are creating channels of power that help us fight back. We got to fight back by organizing. We need some of you to run for office. A lot of people look at me and say, Ben, you need to run for office. I probably could. I probably would win only because, I got that swag. No, I'm serious. I could, but that's not where you need me at right now. You need me doing this right here, right? So everybody has a role to play and we got to move quick. We don't have a lot of time. If we have any time at all, it's already the fourth quarter. We're down by 20 points. It's game time. This is it. And so we need some of you to run for office quickly. Run in 2022. Run in 2021. You got some local campaigns going. You can run for mayor, commissioner, run. Local elections, state legislature. We got to win those back. Run. We need you to be organizing politically, but then don't only put your power into politics, put your power into organizing. Work with some labor unions. Work with some mutual aid organizations. Doing actual tangible good. You get the benefit of helping somebody right now, right? So don't just put all of our energy into politics. Put some of your energy into organizing on the ground. Don't start new organizations. Don't. There are plenty of organizations out there that you can associate yourself with that are right in your city. And you can organize for power right in your city because we need that kind of power. We need think tanks. We don't have think tanks on the left like talking about the Democrats don't have. We got the Center for American Progress. Then that's it. We need more. We need more. And we need plenty of media. We need to be able to turn some random person that you've never heard of, but that is unbelievably talented. And we need to be able to turn them into a media mega house, powerhouse. And we need to do it quickly. And the good thing about it is that with social media and as much as social media has been weaponized against us, right now we can use it to organize in our favor. We don't have a lot of time. It seems like it's far-fetched, but we gotta try. We gotta try. Here's the last thing. We can't just roll over and let them get 2020. It seems hopeless. It seems like they're in position to strike, but we can't let them get 2020. If they win 2020, then we don't have as much time. We lose a lot of time if they win the White House in 2020, because that's going to stack the courts even more. And then we're going to have to wait another 4 years. That gives Donald Trump 4 more years of Supreme Court picks and throughout the federal judiciary. And by that time, I don't know if after 4 more years, we actually have a democracy that we could save. So I think we buy ourselves some time. No. I know we buy ourselves some time with Joe Biden, but we do not let it stop with that. That is just the beginning. The biggest mistake that we made in 2008, and it wasn't just our mistake, it was actually, there are books written on this. This was President Obama's mistake as well, is that he won and we went to brunch. They won, Democrats won, and the majority of us was like, whew, we won. No. Electoral politics is a small percentage of what we need to be doing. And there are people who have been organizing, and that's why I say don't go and start a new organization. Team up with people who are already doing. So long story short is, I know there's a very long answer to that one question, and I need to get back in the comment section to see what else you guys are talking about. But the short answer is this. All hands on deck. All hands on deck. Whatever it is that you do, get in that lane. Everybody doesn't need to run for office. Everybody doesn't need to start a media channel. Everybody can organize on the local level with some current organizations. But whatever your lane is, our way of fixing this is by organizing as quickly as we can to respond in kind. We respond in kind by taking power back. Is it a long shot? Like I said, it's the fourth quarter. We're down by 20. And depending on what sport you're in, down by 24, 21, 20. But anyway. I like this comment. Win or lose, Democratic power will not protect us. We absolutely cannot look at a Joe Biden victory in 2020 as victory. It is not victory. Because as you can see, when Republicans are out of power, that's when they're the most dangerous. That's when they're maneuvering. That's when they're doing all their Machiavellian machinations. Maneuvering and Machiavellian machinations. I'm going to start using that on a regular basis. That's when they're the most dangerous, when they're out of power. We cannot go back to brunch. I mean, sure, I'll meet you at brunch and we'll have brunch, but we can't have that mindset. We can't have that mindset with regard to our political activity. We did not win just because we won the White House. We win by winning everything. We have to win the state legislatures. We got to win the city council. We got to win the school board races. We got to win in our think tanks. We need more think tanks. We need more think tanks putting out policies. We need to fight back against ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Commission, whatever the C stands for. We need to fight back, respond in kind through media. Like I got my reach is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm going to wield that thing. I'm going to take it like a sledgehammer, and I'm coming and smashing. Every time I make a post, I'm trying to give conservatives heartburn, trying to run their blood pressure up. Let's see some other comments. Oh, I had a couple. We got a couple people who are mad. Oh, just stop. Is this some of the same people from yesterday? I love people who come and listen to my stream to be aggravated. There was a super chat in here. Let me grab that super chat. This is from Twitch. Ben's right. 8 years of Obama gave them 8 years of someone to rally their racist base against. What's up, sweetie? Want to take that to mommy? Go ahead. I love shout out to the Falcons fans. As long as you're playing the Falcons, you still have a shot being down by 24. I never forget, I was in Boston the first time, and I was at a bar watching the Patriots game versus the Falcons, and the Falcons were up. I think they were up by more than 24 in the fourth quarter. And I live in Boston. I've been in Boston for years. I went to Atlanta for a little while, came back, whatever. I never liked the Patriots. I'm sorry if I lose some subscribers because of this, but I hate the Patriots. So I'm at a bar in Boston at the Super Bowl, and I'm quietly cheering for the Falcons because Boston ain't no joke. Like the only time I really felt like my life was threatened, like for real, was in Boston, and that was because some racial stuff. But anyway, I digress. The point is that I'm in that bar and I'm quietly cheering for the Falcons. And man, yeah, I don't even like the Falcons. I'm a Saints fan, Who Dat Nation, and to see them be up by 24 and lose in the fourth quarter, but I digress. The point is, we can win. We can still win. Even though we're down by 24 in the fourth quarter, we can absolutely still win. And we got to go down fighting. Even if we lose, let's go down fighting. Trumpism will still be there. Absolutely. Over there from Twitch, Trumpism will still be there. Sonny's with me. F the Pats. Exactly. Yeah. And listen, this is from, where is this? I missed the comment. Give me 2 seconds to find it. They said, oh my God. Oh, there it is, from YouTube. Oh my God, cheering for the Falcons in Boston. Listen, my Saints had lost. I hate the Patriots. So I'm at a bar in Boston quietly cheering. Like people were looking, they could tell, I just do like that. Like, yes, yes. Whenever they scored. And then we lost. Crimson Spice on YouTube says that they're from Boston, they're Bostonian and they hate the Patriots. There's a lot of Patriot hate in here. Let's have some solidarity around our Patriot. Cheers to hating the Patriots. All right, let's get back to it. I didn't even get to the second topic. They don't care about us. How much time do we have left? I've been going, we're good. I usually do it about an hour and a half and then we'll call it. I want to shift gears and talk about COVID-19. We've had a really good conversation. I don't know if I really want to shift gears, but it's necessary. We should shift gears. I've got 3 sisters and 2 brothers. I have 3 sisters and 2 brothers. My 3 sisters and one of my brothers are all teachers. And all of their school districts are starting to push the teachers back into the classrooms with students. Now, Any given day of the year, on a good year, when the sun is shining and the wind is blowing right, schools are petri dishes for sicknesses, viruses, bugs. You put a pandemic on that, and you are consigning some people to death. It's just a guarantee. What makes me so inordinately, and I started the show talking about this today, like today was a bad day for me. I have been zen for months. I've been in a good place. But I called one of my sisters today, and it sounded like she was in a classroom with students. The gag is she wasn't. But for the moment, and she didn't have time to explain it to me before I had lost it. You know, I hung up and I was like, I'll call her back later. And I just sat there. And for the first 30 minutes of me sitting there, I was okay. I was processing it. And I'm like, she has to work. She's got to do what she's got to do. And a lot of people in these similar situations, blah, blah, blah. And I'm processing. And then I start thinking about Ron DeSantis in Florida, who's not only pushing teachers back into the classrooms, but he's opening up bars. He's opening up gyms. The state is completely open. And because of his decisions, there are going to be people who die. Then I started thinking about the governor of Texas, who's putting pressure on all the school boards. The school boards are doing what they can to keep as many people at home as possible, but the governor is trying to push them back into the classrooms. I started thinking about all these Republican governors across the country who are pushing students back into classrooms. And like we already discussed, on the best of days, when it's the beginning of spring, it's the end of spring, schools, it's the best weather. Schools are a petri dish for sicknesses. And the fact is that schools specifically are far more dangerous than even just going to the grocery store. Now, anybody who's been following my work any amount of time, I have been advocating on behalf of essential workers, especially at the beginning of this pandemic over the summer, because I became so disillusioned at the fact that we all have collectively become comfortable with essential workers putting their lives on the line and dying just to get our groceries. And I do take some responsibility for the fact that I fought it intensely with a fire and an intensity of like, I'm ready to fight this whole system. I'm ready to fight some politicians, like for real. Like I started off with an intensity on behalf of essential workers, but that intensity started waning. Month after month, the intensity went down. Month after month, the intensity went down. And then first they came for the essential workers, and now they've come for the teachers. So I take some responsibility in the fact that I did not, and of course it's just my one little stream. I only got, 1,200 people here. I can't save the world, but I could shout. And now we didn't, first they came for the essential workers and we got comfortable with it. And now they're coming for students and teachers and bus drivers and janitors and custodians. And they're coming and they're putting us, the bottom line is whether America has verbally stated it or not, they are absolutely going for a herd immunity. The herd immunity strategy is going to kill between 500,000 and 1 million people. Just let that resonate for a second. America has not expressly said it, but they are going for herd immunity. And here's the reason why. It's not because they think it's a better strategy. It's because they would rather burn through 1 million lives than to slow down their quarterly profit margins. Let me say that again. They would rather burn through 1 million lives than to slow down their quarterly profit margins. This is why today was more of a day where I was ready to go to jail. Because when I really think about how much they don't give a crap, kids are awake still. They don't care about us. We're just numbers to them. We're expendable to them. They will watch a million people die, all for the sake of not letting it impact their quarterly profit margins. And the thing is, every person who dies from this virus, I know this is obvious, but I don't think we really put it in context until it's somebody that we love or it's us. But that's permanent. They're gone. They're not coming back. It's not a mistake that we can go back and fix. Like, I lost my dad when I was 25. And the biggest thing, the most difficult thing to do is to deal with this new permanency. That's it. I remember right after my dad died, we buried him and we all went back to the house. He died in November 2nd, it's coming up. And we buried him, we all went back to our homes, and then we came back to our mother's house for Christmas. And we came to pack her up because we were like, the house was too big, we needed to move her. And one of the things that she said that I never will forget, she was talking about us, you know, our strategy, what are we going to do, how are we going to move and everything. And I don't remember what she said expressly, but I remember how she prefaced it. I'll never forget it. She said, while your dad is gone, XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. I forgot what she said after that. But all I remember her saying is, while your dad, and I'm like, it was so new, it was so fresh that we were still talking in context of temporary. That was 2005. That's 15 years ago. He's still gone. Every person that dies from COVID-19 is a permanent, indelible pain and permanent hurt. And there's no coming back from that. Now, when I place my empathy and my experience with that kind of loss in context of these motherfuckers not giving a damn about us, that's the thing that will turn me from a Disney dad into a felon. Because nothing makes me angrier than seeing some dumbass politician make decisions that will get our loved ones killed. And we've been left out here to fend for ourselves because we're dealing with sociopaths. We're dealing with people who don't run DeSantis in Florida. He doesn't care. He doesn't care how many of you die. He just wants to make sure that the bars are open up because motherfuckers got to get wings and beer. They just got to go out and get some wings and beer. The irony of this is, let me pull myself back because I'm getting really angry right here. And I don't want that vibe at night. I want us to chill. Let's chill. The irony of it is, folks, is that we could be back to some sense of normalcy now if we had just done the right things at the beginning. But they are so sociopathic that not only did they make all of the wrong decisions at the beginning, but now they're like pushing everyone out back into this storm. And again, it's been a storm for essential workers all this time. Essential workers have been dying. Essential workers have been dying all this time. The only consolation that I have for myself is that I shouted to the top of my lungs at the very beginning of this. You can go look at the timestamps on Twitter. I'm probably the very first person in this country who suggested with any significant platform that we needed to have a rescue package of so many dollars per month and people need to be able to stay home and quarantine. I said that I said that we needed a universal basic income, and immediately, and I'm not taking credit for this, low key taking credit for, AOC follows me on Twitter. That's humble brag. Chris Hayes from MSNBC follows me on Twitter. Also humble brag. But immediately after I said those things, then I saw it jump into the national conversation through AOC and Chris Hayes and then other people. And I only bring that up because, like, the right thing to do, the clear-eyed, responsible thing for human life to do would have been for us to shut down for about a month, maybe 2 months, and quarantine everybody and supply everybody with enough resources so that we could have consumed from home. Like, the economy would have been fine. We could have consumed online. We could have, yes, other businesses would have been hurt, but they could have been provided a rescue package. We generate enough money in this country for us to have done this properly. But instead, they did the most ridiculous, asinine things imaginable. They even politicized wearing masks, and now they're trying to push us all back into herd immunity, which is going to require 500,000 more lives. They don't care about us. We have to care for ourselves. I need a couple more viral videos. Get me about, if I can get like two viral videos a week, I probably could be able to, tell my sisters and my brother to quit and just come work for me. They ain't got to work. I don't care. They got to work. They can stay home and watch soap operas as far as I'm concerned. I can't save everybody, but I'm going to try. I know it's, again, I said it earlier, I know it's a savior complex. I know it's all that stuff. It's not necessarily the best idea, whatever. I can't save everybody, but damn it, I'm going to try to save my family. I can't save all the essential workers, but I tip them enough to be able to take some days off. Not humble brag. I'm just trying to do my part. Because when we have people in power who don't give a damn about us, then it's up to us. We got to save ourselves. All right, let's see what you're saying. First they came for the essential workers. Now they've come for the teachers. I am an educator, and now a teacher educator is the fear, and the fear is real. Born Beauty on YouTube said, "I'm so glad my mom is retired from teaching, and she'd be getting ready to die." Yeah, this is the thing. This dude's so lazy. Like, he's not even creating. Honest D, thank you for this. Trump trying to cover it up by calling it herd mentality. They are doing herd immunity, folks. And it's going to cost us at least 500,000 more lives. And my assumption is that if I'm not careful, it's going to be me. If I'm not careful, it's going to be my family. It's going to be my friends. I've already lost a couple friends to this. Don't get me wrong. I have my spots where I'm very arrogant, right? I know my feelings. I am far from perfect. But I'm not arrogant enough to believe that this can't touch me. Okay? I believe the exact opposite. Dan from YouTube, not just Trump. Trump, yes, absolutely right. I agree with your sentiment. Donald Trump is a genocidal, sociopathic maniac. But the Republican Party is a death cult on top of it. And they don't care. They just don't care. I don't understand it, but I see it, and we have to adjust accordingly. Like, I don't understand that sociopathy. I don't understand how you can just, like, I grieve at the loss of life, period. Like, I didn't celebrate completely when Antonin Scalia died, right? I held my tongue as long as I could. And I think maybe I got one or two tweets in there that were like kind of dancing on his grave. But for a moment there, I grieved because it was the cessation of human consciousness. I hate that. Like the thought of people, the brilliance of consciousness being lost to oblivion or to the after, whatever you believe, don't matter. It's sad to me. So I don't understand these monsters who just have no regard for millions of lives. But I don't have to understand it to fight them. And it's about how we have to fight them with the same intensity and ferociousness that they fight to do the wrong thing. We have to fight with that same ferocity, ferociousness, for whatever, for right, for good, as they do for wrong. So I don't understand that sociopathy, but I sure as hell know how to fight against it. Levon, Scalia was the devil. Well, I'm sorry. My empathy reaches even the devil. Now I did dance a little jig, just a little bit. We got to fight. We have to fight. What are my thoughts? This is Stratton. The travel ban was racist and uncalled for at the beginning, just out of curiosity. So here's in general, I don't think that the Democratic leadership is up to the task of this fight. I do know Stratton, trust me, I kind of understand the context of your question and I'm reading between the lines and I kind of get what you're getting at, but I'm going to take your question anyway and I'm going to answer it in the way that I like to answer it. So I see what you're doing. I wasn't born yesterday. I was born today, but not yesterday. I think that I don't honestly believe that they're up to the task for fighting against this Republican Party. Now, that said, the irony of this travel ban is that it was put in context of racist dogma, not for the purposes of protecting Americans, but for the purposes of trying to make it the Chinese virus, right? Because Republicans are good at one thing. They would rally behind a concept like shutting down travel if they could put some type of bigoted connotation on it. The irony of it is the rest of the world has now had to shut down travel to America because we have made this the American virus, the Trump virus. So while they were playing games with the terminology and specifically for bigoted purposes, it still spread like wildfire in the United States, specifically because of the decisions that Donald Trump made. Okay. And now if they can do anything with this virus, they are trying to find a way to attack China with it. And they're attacking China both in a nationalistic sense, in the sense of rah, the red, white, and blue. They'll get behind that, but they also get behind the bigotry of saying, oh, it's the Wuhan virus. It's a Chinese virus, right? Which foments racism and dangerous racism here in the United States because we saw attacks against people of Asian descent. Okay. So to answer your question, I don't think the question is actually meaningful in the sense of discussing the racist bigotry of the connotations of the travel ban, right? Like a travel ban itself, well, hell, it's necessary now because they're blocking Americans from leaving. So a travel ban in a pandemic is oftentimes extremely necessary. The irony of it is that we fixated Donald Trump did it for the purposes of fomenting racism and giving us an enemy. Like I said yesterday, conservatives have to have an enemy. They have to have a scapegoat. They have to have a scapegoat because in reality, they are the reason that we're facing the problems that we're facing. The failings of COVID-19 had nothing to do with China. They had everything to do with the fact that Republicans knew about this in December, and instead of doing anything about it, they made, like Kelly Loeffler down in Georgia. She made sure that she sold her stocks in the hospitality industry. So instead of doing something about it in December, they took care of their financial investments. That wasn't the fault of China, but they needed someone to blame it on. Now, to answer your question, I still don't think Nancy Pelosi and them are up to the task of fighting this type of Republican that we have right now. I have seen some glimmer of light in Nancy Pelosi's approach to what's happening right now. So that's to be determined. So let me table that last part, that's to be determined. But in context of your question, there's your answer. Teachers going back is insanity. Please don't go. Leah on YouTube says, yes, they cashed out and sold us out. Like here's the methodology and the MO of conservatism. I've already said it once, but I feel like it needs to be said again. They create a problem with their actions or inaction. They literally create the problem. Pandemics have been, epidemics have been happening. Pandemics have happened. They happen. And the best thing that we can do is be prepared and implement a strategy to prevent its widespread. Conservatives' actions in this season directly led to it spreading like wildfire. So what do? They need a scapegoat, because they can't let people take a minute to say, how do we get here? Well, we got here because Donald Trump and the Republican Party and the conservatives across this country did not give a damn about us. They cared about their investments. They took care of their investments. They knew how bad it was, and then they downplayed it for the public. And then they politicized wearing masks, which could have saved so many thousands of lives. And then they had super spreader events. Herman Cain became a victim of one of them. And so because they are directly culpable for how many people have died of COVID-19, they got to create an enemy. Now the enemy is China. That's their MO. What's this guy's political views? Lib or leftist? I'll let y'all determine that. I mean, my liberal friends call me a communist. My communist friends call me a liberal. So I'll let y'all figure that out. You repeat yourself, Dixon. Well, Steve, some things need to be repeated because some of you guys aren't getting it. Particularly you conservatives who like to stay in my chat rooms. April Gully has a super chat. Oh, she didn't say, well, thank you. I'll just put it on the screen. I'm gonna put this on the screen. This is from my friend Nerdy Gamer. We follow each other on Twitter. And he said Ben is a libtard. Let's see, what else did I say? See, some people think I for the longest I still consider myself a socialist. But I don't neatly fit into anybody's categories. And I don't say that. A lot of people say that kind of thing to make themselves seem special. While I do feel like I'm special, I just think it's more of, I just don't neatly fit into any category, and I reject a little bit of all of it. A lot of some of it I reject. And, but at the end of the day, if we're choosing between neoliberalism and neo-fascism, I would rather fight against neoliberalism than I have to fight against neo-fascism. Social Democrat, I guess that's one way of describing it. I had a couple of things on the list. How much time do we have left? About 15 minutes. Okay. Oh, Breonna Taylor. Thank you. I'm glad I went back to my notes. There are, I called it last week. I'm not a prophet, but I got foresight I got foresight. And one of the podcasts last week, when Daniel Cameron from Louisville, the attorney general there in Kentucky, I don't know if he's from Louisville, but he's the attorney general there in Kentucky. When Daniel Cameron came out talking about the grand jury, what I said on the podcast last week was the fact that they used the cover. I said this exact phrase. They used the cover of a grand jury to make it seem like it's something that it's not. And what it is a collection of people who receive information, they receive testimony, and they make a decision. But those people are not some apolitical, inherently fair adjudicators of justice. Basically, they're not above political influence. In fact, they are political. We are all political. Every person who serves on a jury or a grand jury comes in with their biases. But we use the jargon of grand jury to give it this kind of veneer that it's above the law, that it's above politics, rather. That it's above politics, that it's apolitical, and that it's somehow a blind adjudicator of justice. That is so far from the case. And I said that that's exactly what Daniel Cameron is doing. And so one of the members of the grand jury has come out and requested, oh, it's right here on my screen. Perfect. I'll pull it up. This is from attorney Benjamin Crump. A grand juror in the Breonna Taylor case has filed a motion accusing Kentucky Office of the Attorney General of hiding behind secrecy requirements while misleading the public about what evidence the grand jury actually saw. Using them as a shield, he calls for a disclosure of grand jury records. Did I call it, or did I call it? Let me pull up this image. And this is a lawsuit. Is it a lawsuit? No, it's a motion. Okay. And I'll read it. Comes the plaintiff, grand juror by counsel, and moves this honorable court to release any and all recordings of the grand jury pertaining to what commonly known as the Breonna Taylor case that resulted in indictment number 20CR1 1473 style. Okay. Anyway, you could read it there. It's on my Twitter timeline. I'll digest it more and talk about it tomorrow, but I called it. Yeah, you guys see what I'm into. Hang on, let me, pretty straightforward stuff, guys. It's my, there's nothing crazy on my phone. I called it. They use this. Here's the gag. This system uses the jargon of justice because, and I've gone over this so extensively, so go back and listen to some old episodes. But it's pretty straightforward. Number one, they have to make it seem like everything that America does is just. When in reality, what America does is justify everything it does. They justify our crimes, our war crimes. We justify slavery. We justify Jim Crow. We justify the internment of Japanese people during World War II. We justify obliterating Nagasaki and Hiroshima. We justify all of our crimes. And we wrap it in the veneer of justice because of the power of the narrative of justice. Just the narrative of justice itself is powerful. So if you write yourself in the history books as if everything that you've ever done has been just, then you control the narrative of the just. The narrative of the just is powerful because as people in future generations read your history, if they believe that everything that this country has done has been just, then they don't turn the appeal to justice inside of them, like that thing inside of you that tells you right and wrong, that North Star that's in the inside of every one of us. If you've been indoctrinated into believing everything America has done is just, then you're always looking out and saying, okay, well, everyone else is bad, but America is just. And so we justify, we make excuses for, we cover up a multitude of war crimes and just outright evil. America is not just. America justifies all of our crimes. From the macro level of international relations and our dealings with other nations, imperialism, the military industrial complex, all those things on the global stage, all the way down to an individual case for Breonna Taylor. What we have done is we've justified killing Breonna Taylor. And let me be careful with that inclusive language, because we didn't do anything. Daniel Cameron, a black man, did it on behalf of white supremacy. He justified the murder of Breonna Taylor, and he wrapped it in the language of justice because of how important it is for everything that America does to be viewed as just. Why? Because as future generations look back and read the history of our present, they would be like, America is so just. Why do you think Donald Trump is putting so much emphasis on this 1796 commission? And he's trying to make sure that we have no critical race theory lectures or any implicit bias trainings on the federal level, because they do not want anyone to ever look back on America through the lens of its injustices. We have to tell ourselves the fairy tale of America, that America has already been. This is why people, let me finish one sentence. That America has always been just. We tell ourselves those fairy tales. And this is why people ludicrously believe that we've won every war. Part of the fairy tale about America is that America's won every single war. You know how many people think we won Vietnam? Because the narrative of the just suggests that we will always be victorious in battle. Because if we're just, we're fighting on the right side of every issue. They cannot allow the record to ever show that America has been on the wrong side of so many issues, so many wars, so many coups in Latin America, so much bloodshed. America has been on the wrong side. And so there's no issues too big for America to rewrite as if they are inherently on the side of justice. And there's no issue too small that America won't rewrite to make it seem as though they are inherently on the right side of justice. And so from something as big as dropping nuclear weapons on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, all the way to the individual case in Kentucky, Louisville, the case of Breonna Taylor, America will always rewrite history as though everything that we've done has been just, when we've got so much blood on our hands that we should be terrified. That magnificent white supremacist who had an unbelievable way with words, Thomas Jefferson. I want to get it right. I know the quote, but I want to get it right. I tremble when I consider that God is just. And that was Thomas Jefferson. I just want to get the quote right. Oh, here it is. Magnificent white supremacist. Wonderful. I mean, just had an impeccable way with words. He was able to have a vision for humanity that transcended his own transgressions and his rape, right? So I have no problem understanding America in context of its sins. Brilliant mind. Jefferson was absolutely brilliant and a white supremacist and a rapist. But he said, indeed, here, I could just put it on the screen. He said, indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever. This is why it's like America's trying to convince itself, but America's trying to convince God, if you believe in God. America's trying to convince the moral arc of the universe, which is long but it bends towards justice, They're trying to like write it down that everything that we've done in this country has been just. But if you consider that the moral arc of the universe is just and is long and it bends towards justice, and if you're like Thomas Jefferson and you believe that God is just, you tremble for your country and his justice will not sleep forever, then you will understand why America is so committed to trying to convince the universe that it is inherently just, when in fact the things that it does, from slavery to Breonna Taylor, from Hiroshima and Nagasaki to COVID-19, has been the epitome of gross injustice. I'll pat myself on the back with that one. That was pretty dope, actually. Thank you, Lava. How do you pronounce that? Can you give me the phonetic spelling of that? I'm gonna think Lava. Brad Parscale. Funny, the clip that I started the show off talking about was how Trump was targeting African Americans, and it was from Channel 4. Check it out. And Brad Parscale is actually in that. He was the digital director for Donald Trump in 2016. And if you're watching the news today, you saw that Parscale was arrested for assault against his wife. Let's see. Yep. Gladys. Injustice is the founding blocks of America. They came here to found people, found people, killed them, and took the land. Absolutely. We're coming up in the last few minutes, so I honestly, what time is it? I started a little earlier tonight. Oh, it's 11:37. I don't want to belabor it. I don't want to keep you guys long. I can stay on for longer if you like, so let me know if you want to talk about another subject. But if we get ready to end, I want you to do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe, follow. If you're on Facebook, follow, like the page. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, cross-pollinate, go to the other platforms. Help me to we're on the push towards 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for 5 years, and I've still only got like 70,000. A month ago, I only had 40,000, 30,000. So we're doing good. We're pushing really hard. So go to the other channels and subscribe. And I'm going to continue to do these streams because I love the vibe. I love inviting you into my home. I love being able to just kind of zen out. The podcast is intense. So go and download the podcast to get that perspective. But in this space, I like us to just kind of vibe. That's why I always just say, are you up? Let's talk. Here's a super chat that's asking a question. God, these are moving so quick, guys. I'm sorry, folks. It's hard to keep up. But the super chat asked, let me get it on the screen. Slow down. So many comments. If I heard about the officer, here it is. Okay, I'll put it on the screen now. Did I hear about the cop who turned whistleblower in Atlanta? He exposed a corruption and a plot to gentrify using police to charge and harass tenants. I hadn't, but I will look into that tonight or tomorrow. Christo said, love you, Ben. Love you back. Love y'all more. Let's see what my Plinzer said on Facebook. She said, America was the last to free its slavery. What are you talking about? The Bible was written by King James. Oh, she must be in a conversation with somebody else there. Sorry. It's hard to pick up when you're asking me directly or if you're talking to somebody else. Fun chatting, got some herbal tea. I made the mistake of drinking coffee tonight because I just wanted some pumpkin spice. So I'm going to be up a little while. Yeah, I'm going to be up a little while. We still have about 1,200 people across all the platforms, so thanks everybody. Oh, the debate is tomorrow night. So tomorrow, I haven't discussed it. We need Joe Biden to show out. That's just period, man. We need Joe Biden to show out. We need him to be at his very best. Because we live in okay. I could run my mouth for days. Yeah, don't ask me a question because I always go deeper into the question than probably necessary. But we live in such a ridiculous society. America is so absurd. Absolutely asinine that we could have a sociopathic megalomaniac in office who's responsible for the deaths of 200,000 Americans. Okay, let's spot Donald Trump 30,000 that probably would have died regardless of anything we could have done because it's a novel coronavirus. So he's responsible for 170,000 deaths. And yet he's still in a position where he absolutely could win in November. We should be able to run SpongeBob SquarePants and beat the crap out of Donald Trump just because of how reckless he has been and how many people he's responsible for killing. But we live in such an asinine and absurd society that Donald Trump very well could win. It's not a foregone conclusion. We need Joe Biden to go in there and wreck shop and take names. I think that's the phrase. So what do I expect? I expect Joe Biden to show the hell up and show the hell out and blast Donald Trump for his taxes, blast Donald Trump for COVID-19, blast Donald Trump for his white supremacy, blast Donald Trump for everything so that it'd be a clear and stark contrast so that for all the people who absurdly aren't sure about what they're going to do in November can be crystal clear in understanding that at this point, our choice is between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And if you're talking about just saving democracy so we live to fight another day, it's got to be Joe Biden. Bernie would have won. Hang on. I do too. I wish it was Bernie. I would feel so much more comfortable if it was Bernie, but it's not. And I'm smiling about it, but I'm crying on the inside. But it's neither here nor there. We need Biden to show up. Okay, here we go. Stacy Joe. This is another can of worms. What do I think about reparations? Pay me what you owe me. No, seriously. Pay us what you owe us. America has a track record of paying reparations to other groups. There is a clear, there's a clear line, a direct line from the vestiges, better described as the ravages of slavery, through Jim Crow, through redlining, through the prison industrial complex, and the economic condition of black people in this country. There's a clear line that has been studied over and over and over again. Pay us what you owe us. Mark said Bernie was his first choice too. Yeah, it is what it is, folks. You know, we just got to live to fight for another day at this point. I'll put this on screen. Steve, I'll give you some airtime, Steven, so everybody can see. Trump is king. I think you people really believe it. Okay, here's a comment. Here's a comment. And I want to say this about, let me read it. Obama screwed up on the first debate with McCain. There's a probability of that happening here. Trump is a liar and he will be loud and obnoxious. Trump is going to say he's the greatest of all time. It was actually, I don't remember Obama messing up with McCain as much as I remember Obama messing up with Mitt Romney. The first debate between Obama and Mitt Romney, I was like, oh, whoa, where'd Obama go? But he came back strong on the second and third debate. So it's a possibility, right? But we're in the fourth quarter. We're down by 24 points. We can't afford for Joe Biden to mess up. So it's a lot of pressure. But here's the thing, man. Like, one thing I know for sure, Joe Biden has been preparing for this his whole life. like literally. This man been trying to get in this position. Now they may have caught him on the other side of his curve, but he's been preparing for this for his whole life. So damn it, show the hell up. It's like I say, my wife gets tired of me saying it. What babe, you back there? Yeah. You know what I'm about to say? We could go through the drive-through at Burger King, not right now because we're on pandemic, but we go through, and I'm like, hey, this is your moment to shine. You've been training for this. Do whatever you do it great. I don't care if you serving a burger. I don't care if you're running in a marathon. Like some people perform better under pressure. And if you are on this high level where you've been trying to become president all your life, all of your adult life, then you better rise to the occasion when that moment comes, baby. You better not shrink under that pressure. You better not shrink. I don't care if he has to dig into the recesses of his mind and pull up some cognitive ability that he doesn't even know. I don't care what he's got to do. He better show up and show the hell out. That's my expectation. He's been training for this. He can do it. I saw another super chat. I want to get all the super chats in. Hang on. Go on screen. There it is. Do you think Biden will go after Trump for defunding blue states and cutting off COVID-19 testing and not helping California with fires? He should. Don't leave anything on the table. Don't leave anything. Put Donald Trump on the defensive, right? Donald Trump is going to try to put Joe Biden on the defensive for the 94 crime bill. They better have some good answers for that. But more importantly than just good answers, he better know how to pivot the hell out of that and point to what's happening right now. Now, Joe Biden is a stubborn old man, and he's never going to apologize for the 94 crime bill. He should. But the 94 crime bill is the 94 crime bill. It happened. It's done. COVID-19, the California wildfires, his taxes, all of that is present. Donald Trump getting another term means another 500,000 people die of COVID-19 because they're going through they're pursuing a strategy of herd immunity. So, yeah, don't leave anything on the table. Talk about his mama as far as I'm concerned. Everything is on the table. Destroy Donald Trump. Politically eviscerate and disembowel him, politically speaking. Leave nothing. No insult left behind. Mary Beth O'Neill said she's going to watch the debate with hands over her face, peering out, cringing for when Biden stumbles. Me too. All right, folks, where we at? We're at an hour and 38 minutes. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Be sure to hit the like, share, subscribe button. We still have 1,000 people who have been hanging out. Invite your friends to hang out with me. I want to invite everybody into my house, into my home each night. We just sit here and vibe and talk about the topics. Nothing super rigid, nothing super structured. I'm thinking about calling this You Up? The text generation, well, you'll get the reference. That might be inappropriate, but I think I'm going to call it that anyway. But come out and hang out with me tomorrow night. And actually, tomorrow night, I'll be with the Young Turks until about midnight. So I may be too tired to do a full hour, but I'll at least get on and we'll at least do like 20 minutes recap and we'll vibe tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Like, share, subscribe, invite somebody, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.